All right, guys, what's going on? It's your man Jay Will. So I'm doing a live broadcast right now. I wanted to talk about the new Axon, ZTE Axon 7. So this phone, I often, when we get new phones that come to the market, I often wonder why some brands just don't get they don't get the fair shake in coming out with a device. And this happens all the time. And it's solely because of people or companies like Apple and Samsung and LG, these big companies who, they're getting the market share. Samsung and Apple right now are controlling the market share. And they're doing so because they put out fantastic products. There's just no getting around that. But I want to just do a quick live video, and I think that the ZTE Axon 7, I've got my little cheat sheet here, but the ZTE Axon 7, this phone will be priced at $450 to start. There's two variants. There's a 6 gig version, and I believe there's a 4 gig version as well. Yeah, there's a 4 gig and a 6 gig. Now, this phone is a direct competitor for phones like the one that I'm recording on, the S7 Edge. It has a 5.5-inch display. This has a 5.5-inch display. It is Quad HD, obviously. This is Quad HD. It has a 20 megapixel camera on the back. Now, megapixels, we all know that only means so much. People don't, megapixels, we've learned that they don't, it's the technology behind it. Apple, Samsung, again, they have great products and they don't have 50 megapixel cameras, but it has a 3140 milliamp hour battery, fingerprint reader. But one important part about the ZTE Axon 7 that I really am going to like is it's going to have dual front firing speakers. Now, this will be available hopefully in the next couple of months. And this is going to be a phone to pick up. Why? Because it's packing all the features that a person could want. More importantly, the price is going to be $450. Now, ZTE is a brand that's, kind of hit the U.S. and, people kind of were just like, well, I never really heard of them. All their phones are those knockoff phones. And you hear people say things like that. But my experience with ZTE phones is that they're really, really good. I don't have a problem with ZTE. The ZTE Max was a stellar device. And this phone right here is going to be a hit probably amongst techies. Not so much, because I don't know how they're going to market this phone against the competition. Samsung and Apple are just blowing the market away. But 5.5 inches, Quad HD display, dual front firing speakers, and there's a lot of videos out there on the speakers demoing it, and they are much louder than any boom sound I've ever heard. Period. The M9 and the M8, I think the M7 and the M8 were the loudest of them all. But those front firing speakers, from what I hear on the Axon 7, they're going to be killer. So, why won't this phone get a fair shake? It's priced lower than the competition. The 128 gig variant is going to be $640, I believe. So $190 more, and you get 128 gigs, and then you get 6 gigs of RAM. That's the most important part. But $640 for 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs onboard storage, fingerprint reader, dual front firing speakers. At this point, I'm just kind of, on the fence about which one I should get. Because a 4 gig RAM phone is actually just stellar. It performs well. Most of the phones with 4 gigs of RAM, they perform very, very well. So I haven't had any problems with any of my phones that have 4 gigs of RAM. But the ZTE Axon phone is going to ship with Android 6.0.1. It's got a Snapdragon 820 in it. These are all the specs that are currently on the market. So I don't foresee this phone getting the fair shake that it really should get. It's going to have an 8 megapixel on the front, and again, it's got that 20 megapixel on the back. It's got 32-bit audio. I mean, come on, this is going to be sweet. Dual band Wi-Fi. It's got fast charging, 83% in 30 minutes. That's Quick Charge 3.0, for just so you know. This is just going to be really good. And the battery is 3140, and it's not the biggest battery, but it should do very, very well. What do you guys think about the ZTE Axon 7? Will you pick it up? Do you think it's a good phone? I think it's going to be sweet. The build quality on it, if I had to gripe about something, I wouldn't want a gold one. They have a silver and they have gold, and that's pretty much it. So I would want like a dark colored one, a black or, some kind of dark gray. It comes in quartz gray and ion gold. I would have preferred a black or, just a darker gray. However, I don't think this phone is going to get a fair shake, even though it deserves it. I just think that it's a beautiful, well-built device. I can't wait for it to hit the market. It says it's coming out in July. July can't come fast enough because I really would love to get my hands on that 6 gigs of RAM. I don't really know that it's worth, going, here I'm already saying it, but because when you have to pay full cost like this, it can get kind of pricey. Spending 6 gigs, spending $640 plus tax on something that you don't need, that can get kind of pricey. And I've done it time and time again. But I run a tech channel, so obviously I get the funds back, or I'm using funds that I've made on the channel. Nonetheless, the Axon 7, 5.5 inch fingerprint reader, 20 megapixel camera, 3140 milliamp hour battery, quick charge 3.0, quad HD display, 6 gig, 128 gig, 4 gig, 64 gig. Best options out there. What do you guys think about the phone? Let me share this. I'm gonna go ahead and share this on Twitter. I'm gonna share it on Google+. I don't do very many live broadcasts, but I wanted to go ahead and do one right now. The ZTE Axon phone is awesome, to say the least. And, I don't use that word very often, awesome, but I'm pretty excited about getting the ZTE Axon in hand. I'm checking some messages and things. Nonetheless, what do you guys think about the Axon 7? Is going to be something that you guys will be interested in purchasing? Would it be a device do you think it's worth the $450 price tag? I think so. I think even the $640, $640, you're getting 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs on board. The front fire speakers is something that I'm really excited about. In another video, somebody talked about my comments on the HTC 10 and their speaker. People say, most people just plug in headphones anyway. I don't plug in very many headphones to my phones because if a phone speaker is loud enough, it could be heard in any area, no matter where you're at. So I'm one of those people that probably don't plug in a lot. I use Bluetooth a lot, but I don't plug in very often. And if that was one of the selling points of their actual of that phone. So I don't know, man. I think that it's going to be an experience to grab this phone for $450. I'm leaning more towards the $450. I don't know that I would want to pay $640 up front, even though it's technically the better deal because of specs. But that's something that I would be willing to do for a Samsung Galaxy Note 6 or 7, which it should be called the 7. I'm willing to do that for that phone because they've proven themselves. And I'm not saying that ZTE hasn't proven themselves. They have great products, but I don't know that I would even need 6 gigs of RAM, but it's just going to come standard probably on the Note 7. And even the iPhone, they might bump theirs up to 3 gigs of RAM. Who knows? Anyway, one of few live broadcasts that I'm doing. I've got some other stuff coming up, and it's your man Jay Will. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Stop the broadcast.